This is Sonia Regal. I'm going to show you how I make a Bouffant surgical cap. And it has a little pocket in the back for especially people that have a long hair. I'm going to start with the pattern. This is, I started with 18 inches across by 18 inches up and down. This part is 9.5 inches. This part is 4.5 inches. There are 31 dots around, starting with the center and 15 on each side. The dots are 1 1/8 inch between. You can make your pattern as a whole like that, or you can fold it in half and cut it on the fold. The brim is 16 1/4 inches long, 5 1/8 inch wide, and 1 inch at the ends. You can start with a pattern that you already have. There are different ones you can download on the internet, but this is what I adjusted to. Now this, I like mine to be the whole thing, because what I do with mine is I put little holes where my dots are all marked, and then I can lay it on the fabric on the wrong side of the fabric. You lay that out and you put your little marking dots on the wrong side. Then it makes it much easier to make a neat, tidy pleat. I just take the little holes and I use my tailor's pen to mark the dots. So you need one of these, then you need one brim, and one fusible interfacing for the brim. Alright, what we do first is I start folding the pleats. You want to find the center dot, the very center one in the top. And I'll go to the right first, and I'll take the dot that's just to the right, I'll bring it to the center, match it, and this is on the wrong side of the fabric, right side of the fabric, and then I point this to the right because that's the side that I'm doing, is to the right. And I'll clip that. And then I'll go to the left, and I'll do the same thing. I'll match that left dot to the center one. This is the only one that we do from both sides. And you'll clip that. And all the way down the left side, you're going to match the center dots and fold that out. All the way down the left. On the right side, you're going to do the same thing, only you're going to fold that to the right, all the way down. Then you take that to the sewing machine and you stay stitch that in 1/4 inch from the outside, and that's what that looks like. You're going to take your brim, you're going to iron the fusible interfacing onto it, then you're going to iron a fold. I clip the curves just a little bit so you don't get it too far, and then I make a fold and iron that in. Have that ready for the next thing that we do. Next is I'll take the bonnet piece, the hat piece, and I'm going to put the right side of the brim, not the folded side, but the other side. I'm going to put that on the wrong side of the brim. So I've got both right sides facing me. The right side of this and the right side of this are facing me. Then I'll start at the outer edges and work my way in. I'll match this right up. And I'll work my way back and forth. and I'll put clips all along. And if I've done it well, it will all come out to match up well. And I'll take that and I'll sew that just inside this, just on the other side of the 1/4 inch mark. So I'm leaving just a tiny little space there and sewing the two of them together. So it's wrong sides, you'll see both wrong sides here, you'll see both right sides here. When that's sewn together, this is what we have. And then I'm going to turn it the other direction. And I'm going to fold it up. This is already folded under, which is very nice. You may want to clip these, but these you're going to want down, and you're going to match these up so that this covers just over the stitching lines. You want to definitely make sure that covers over the stitching lines. And I also do this, like I work this back and forth to make sure I don't have a pucker spot. And so that should match up there. And when that's all pinned, it looks like this. I've been very careful to make sure that my threads are covered, but not by much. And I'll stitch that in. Then I'll take it and I'll iron it. So if you've got a crease from, if you cut it out on the fold, or if your fabric got a little wrinkled, this is the time to iron it before this all gets sewn together, and it makes it very difficult. And this is a good time to press your brim. It makes your brim nice. And that's where I sewed that, and it comes out right to the edge. Next, I'm gonna fold these together. You're gonna fold it starting right there at the corner, and you'll pin it. There will be a little point here that you'll nip off after, and then you'll sew from the edge down. If you have a serger, I would suggest it. If not, do a zigzag over it. Then what I like to do is then I like to run a serged edge across the bottom too. That makes it very tidy. And then I will fold that little edge down, and I'll stitch that. Just stitch it in place. Makes it easier for the elastic. When you're threading the elastic, it doesn't catch on it. So this has been folded down with a little stitch put in place. Then I'm going to fold this where I've serged it and fold it up. Now see, we've made the pocket. Now we're making the elastic casing. So I'm going to fold this up. And we're going to sew here, but leaving this open on both sides for the elastic. And I've already sewn this underneath, so we have a finished edge on that end, on the two ends. You need a 6-inch piece of 3/8 inch elastic. So now I've sewn the elastic casing in. I'm going to feed my elastic through it. It's caught there a little bit. There we go. Now I like to leave elastic out and pin it in place to make sure that I don't lose that elastic till I'm at my sewing machine. And I'll bring this out the other side. And it's stuck on me a little. I must have caught it a little narrow there. Oh, there's a thread there, that's why. It's caught on a thread. And then I like to keep the elastic at both ends pinned in place before I take it to my machine. That way it doesn't slip under. Then when I go to my machine, I very, very carefully and gently pull it back till it goes just, I don't want too much, I want it just under. Okay, and then I'm going to catch it, and I'm going to pin it, and I will make sure that I'm catching the elastic, and I'll sew back and forth a couple times here. Then I'll go over and sew again to make sure I have double so that the elastic doesn't fray out. And you can stitch that closed if you want to, but since it's done here, you don't have to. And you don't notice the stitching on the outside if you match the colors well. And there you go. Your little Bouffant hat with the pocket.